Hello, everyone. Anyone, welcome to Going for 2-point conversion, Monday night recap, and prop bet, and Monday night advanced game show. We are down our producer, Dan, who was kind enough to still do a sheet for us. So thank you, Dan. And we are down our host, Kyle, who I'm not sure why. But hi, Kyle, wherever you are. We will try to fill in as much as possible. And we are blessed to have Courtney help us fill in to help us get through this hour. And it's going to be, I have a feeling, a lot of Doc. Hey, James. Yeah. So if you guys, like I said earlier, which would probably help if I put the chats on, if you guys have any questions about your lineups and how these plethora of injuries are going to affect your lineup, we have the man who can help you with any and all of that. So send your questions in, ask him, or if you are embarrassed to ask on this, Adam at TFS Doc, and he will help you navigate this minefield of injuries that just happened. I know, right? It's ridiculous. But before we start, everyone introduce themselves. Hey, Courtney.
How's it going? All right, guys. I write for Going for Two and do a little bit with Pro Football Mania, and huge Saints fan. Let's not talk about this past week, and let's just go from there. I'm glad to be here. I'm on Twitter at LoveTractor3. It's right on there.
Love it. Love that you are here. And of course, our doctor. Hi, James.
Hi. Yes, Courtney, we are happy to have you here. And I am Dr. James Ferretti, the Fantasy Sports Doc. And I'm not going to belabor with an introduction because we have so many injuries to get through. It is unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable. I'm glad that I do what I do, and hopefully I'm going to help everybody out with the just obscene amount of injuries that we had this week. So I will ask you guys, if we don't have any questions, where do you want to start as we try to sort through the carnage that was week 2?
I think let's can we go from less serious to more serious, or do you not have them divided like that? Or can we go from most fantasy relevant to less fantasy relevant?
I'm at your disposal, lady. So you tell me where you want me to go, and I'll go there.
I like less fantasy relevant to most fantasy relevant.
Okay. All right. So let's start with the injuries that you think aren't going to hold people out that much long. Okay.
All right. That sounds good. I like that. All right, let's start at the quarterback position, and I think we could do some of these rapid fire. So Derek Carr, he injured his foot partially from breaking it off in the Steelers' ass. Sorry, Gladys.
There you have it.
And so he sprained his ankle. Doesn't look like it's a high grade ankle sprain or anything like that. Probably a low grade sprain. I think he'll probably be fine for week 3. It looks like he's trending in the right direction. Baker Mayfield injured his non-throwing shoulder. It doesn't look like it's a big deal currently. It really could be anything, but given that it's his non-throwing shoulder, he's probably just very likely to gut it out. Don't really see any long-term issues with that. Carson Wentz actually sprained both of his ankles somehow. So it's probably going to limit his mobility. Doesn't look like it's super worrisome. I'd probably watch the practice reports on that, but again, don't think it's going to hold him out at the time being. And then we'll get to Tua Tagovailoa. So this was a little worrisome when it happened because initially he had x-rays. They were negative on his ribs. Further testing was kind of questionable earlier this morning, and it turns out that further testing showed no break, no tear in the cartilage, so he just has a bruise. And I say just in quotation marks because they're really still pretty painful. But it's a pain tolerance issue, so I think they're going to be able to numb it up. He can wear a flak jacket for extra protection. Probably his biggest concern at this point is not pulling a Tyrod Taylor 2.0 and puncturing his lung with the numbing injection like what happened with Tyrod last year. And then the Justin Herbert show happened after that. But barring that, I think he'll probably be available to go this week. So at quarterback, that's kind of the non-worrisome injuries.
Okay, I have a question on non-worrisome
Yes.
injuries. On Carson Wentz, on his spraining both ankles,
Yeah.
which, obviously, well, not obviously, but I would assume is going to really hamper his mobility.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know how much he's been really running this year, but I mean, it's one of those things where if it's a low ankle sprain, they can kind of tape it up, numb it up, anti-inflammatories, and you can walk backwards. And I mean, Tom Brady played in the Super Bowl with a sprained MCL, and that's more for lateral movement and things like that. And that's really where the ligaments are on the ankles. They're kind of more if you're pivoting one way or the other. If you're kind of going front or back, it's less of an issue. So he will have limited mobility, but not no mobility. So he should be able to move around, just not really have a lot of escapability if he's facing like a big time pass rush.
What about Tua when he's throwing? Is that going to affect anything?
I think it's going to hurt him when he's throwing, when he coughs, when he sneezes, when he breathes,
when he gets hit.
Yeah, when somebody looks at him, for more than 3 seconds, it's really going to be painful. So this is really when they say it's a pain tolerance issue, it really is a pain tolerance issue. Like he could very easily take a hit and just be knocked out of the game at some point, presuming that he does start just because of that. I think that if he's in the game and he's just going through the motions of throwing the ball, it's not going to be any more painful than it is with any other activities he's going to be doing. I think they're going to probably numb him up pretty good. He'll be wearing extra padding for protection. But yeah, if he takes shots during the game, especially if he takes a hard shot, there's a decent chance that he could get knocked out of the game during the game, which can be a killer fantasy-wise.
Yep.
Okay, so those are our quarterbacks. I have a back. Can you guys hear that? Okay.
I hear them. Not really. I mean, it's maybe a little background noise. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, no, that's me, the background noise. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I have so those are the quarterbacks with the not so serious
mild injuries.
Mild injuries, although you want to keep an eye on Tua. I would keep an eye on Carson Wentz. They played the Titans, but Titans really haven't shown pass rush that you need to worry about. But Carson Wentz, again, hasn't shown a mobility in that offensive line. So, and next, Doc, what you got?
So kind of the more serious injuries will go from less serious to more serious. So Tyrod Taylor injured his hamstring. He's getting an MR at this point. They're already kind of laying the groundwork that he's going to be out this week for Thursday's game versus Carolina. So the fact that he's already trending to be out is not a great sign. And he could miss more than 1 week. This could be multiple weeks. They've already kind of said that Deshaun Watson's not going to be an option. So it looks like it's Davis Mills season for anybody that really cares about that. So that's something. Maybe Superflex teams, they might be interested in that. But this could be a multi-week injury. Like just because he's going to be out this week doesn't mean he's necessarily going to be back next week. And they were actually looking pretty good. Houston was looking certainly way better than anybody expected. Yeah. The real fantasy relevant injury is Andy Dalton. So he injured his knee, and it's a bone bruise. No ligament injury as far as anybody's reported at this point, but kind of want to talk a little bit about what a bone bruise is and the misnomer of a bone bruise. Like when you think of a soft tissue bruise, it's just kind of an area where you injure the soft tissue. A bone bruise is actually kind of like an incomplete break of the bone. So it's a lot more serious than a soft tissue bruise. Not as bad as a break, but definitely more serious than a soft tissue injury. And time-wise, could be anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks, maybe longer, depending on how bad it is. Now, I don't know if you guys heard this, but Coach Nagy said something very interesting. He said Andy Dalton is the starter when he's healthy. So here's my question to you guys. What's the problem with that statement, and what can we infer from that statement?
That Andy Dalton is not going to be healthy for the rest of the season.
Well, he's not going to be healthy for the short term, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So,
I just don't. Yeah. I understand trying to protect your rookie quarterback, the star of your franchise, the face of your franchise, but I don't know. Does that mean that they're going to try to push him back in sooner? Because for some reason that he's just, I don't know what his hang up is on Dalton, but I understand that Fields didn't look that amazing, but he's also a rookie, but he has the potential there and Dalton doesn't. I don't see it. I don't understand what's going on there with Coach Nagy. I don't get it.
Yeah, my thought on that is I think he's just kind of leaving himself an exit strategy in case Fields comes in and he's really not ready and he looks really bad. Then he kind of has a way to go back to, walk it back and go back to Andy Dalton. But here's the reality. If Fields plays well, Dalton's going to be nailed to the bench for the rest of the year. So this is the Wally Pipp, like Lou Gehrig Wally Pipp moment for those baseball fans out there. Like could be the passing of the torch for the Justin Fields era in Chicago. If he plays well, he's not giving that job up. This is his opportunity. So for all those people that have been waiting for Justin Fields, this is your chance.
That would be me.
There you go.
I think everybody.
I know. I mean, I kind of understand him not looking. I mean, he got thrown into the game. He didn't look incredibly bad. He didn't look Zach Wilson bad. You know what I mean? So,
but he didn't look Mac Jones good.
Okay, so is Mac Jones looking good, or is he just looking manageable? Do you know, like his numbers aren't crazy. His numbers aren't, they're not 200 yards a game.
Right?
Yeah, he's looking, and I don't mean any disrespect to the Jameis Winston. He's looking first week Jameis Winston good without the 5 touchdowns. Do you know what I mean? Like he's getting them through the game. He's winning, but come on, 148 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's an anomaly that.
Well, I think that goes to show you how truly good of a coach Bill Belichick is.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew exactly what he was doing when he drafted Mac Jones. He knew the kind of player that he was. He's not a pocket passer. I mean, I'm sorry, he's not an out-of-pocket passer. He is a pocket passer. He needs to be protected and be able to do his job and have time to do it. And think about it. That's what Tom Brady was in the beginning. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it because I hate the Patriots, but that kid is going to be special. He is.
Well, it's going to be Bill Belichick special, I think. I don't know.
And he produced Tom Brady pretty well.
That was the argument. So far, yeah. Tom's leading on the cards on that one. So that was always the argument.
Is he? I'm sorry. Okay, Doc, we're sorry. Go ahead with your.
No, not at all.
That's
so that is pretty much quarterbacks. That's about a quarter of the league that is injured in some way, shape, or form. But is there anybody that I missed or anybody that you guys had questions on that maybe didn't have anything super serious? Otherwise, we can move on to running backs where it was just absolute carnage, especially the 49ers. Like basically, if you're out there and you're listening and you don't have anything to do next Sunday, give Coach Shanahan a call. He might be able to use you because they're doing open tryouts like an Invincible. So it's gonna be pretty interesting out there in the Bay Area. So let's start there because everybody kind of got messed up to a different degree in the entire backfield. So let's start with the worst one. So JaMychal Hasty, high ankle sprain, probably going to go on short-term IR, could be out even longer, 4 to 5 weeks. We've talked many times about how bad high ankle sprains can be. Large area of tissue really can't accelerate the healing on that. They're just really horrible injuries. Who knows what the landscape at running back is going to look like? Forget about like when he comes back. Who knows what's going to look like next week? So, 5 weeks from now, it's like, I have a better chance of picking the lottery numbers than I do of picking who's going to be the starting running back for the 49ers. Like, for all I know, it could be Gale Sayers. So he's probably droppable if you have other needs at this point, because you're probably looking at least a month, maybe a month and a half before he even comes back. And then will he have a job? Will he have a role? Who knows? Trey Sermon did not have an auspicious start to his NFL career. First carry, it looked good for about the first 2 or 3 seconds where he broke through and had about a 7-8 yard gain, and then he gets hit, he fumbles, and he gets a concussion. So that's not great. That's not a great start. Nowhere to go but up, Trey. So don't worry about that. But he's going to be in the concussion protocol, which is regimented. We're just going to have to follow his practice reports during the week and see how he does. There's a real chance he misses next week and potentially longer, just kind of how bad this concussion was. And he looked like he got hit pretty good. He was down on the field for a while. So we have to wait and see on that. Even if he's healthy, if they have anybody else, they may still go to him because he's a rookie and he fumbled on his first carry. That's a major, major no-no. And yeah, so not looking good there. And then the darling of the waiver wire pickups, Elijah Mitchell, my boy, Elijah Mitchell, hurt his shoulder. So they're not really giving a lot of details of what this is, but it might be a stinger, which is a nerve injury to the shoulder. And basically what happens is when you get hit or you hit something and your head goes, wait, what am I doing? My head goes this way and my arm goes the opposite way, like that. It stretches out the nerves in the shoulder. It's like doing this in a mirror. It stretches out the nerve in the shoulder, and it can have stretching, pinching of the nerves, numbness, tingling, pain, and that can persist for minutes, hours, days, or even weeks. So it was a good sign that he was able to re-enter the game, but we're going to have to watch the practice reports on that too. They already have Kerryon Johnson on the practice squad, and they're bringing in Duke Johnson, TJ Yeldon, Lamar Miller, and anybody else that they could think of to do a tryout. So I'll ask you guys, now that we've kind of, handicapped literally the entire 49ers backfield, do you guys have any thoughts on any of these guys? Or let's say everybody's out, like what direction would you go?
I'm going to go with the quarterback who can throw the ball the most and go wide receiver, unstack that quarterback and wide receiver. Mm-hmm. I heard something really weird today that they weren't worried, and they being whoever the commentators were, not the 49ers, that because they had Trey Lance, who is a running quarterback. So do they really need, these plethora of running backs if they're going to bring Trey Lance in and do the packages that he did during preseason?
That's an interesting point.
So Gladys, you thinking like a gadget play, like a Taysom Hill type of person?
Well, I think that
or starting period, like him coming in for Jimmy G.
I think packages. I wouldn't call them gadget plays, because I think that they're going to be that Shanahan is not above using two quarterbacks. Right. So Trey Lance would come in as a running back, basically. Okay. That could be a quarterback too.
That would be fun to watch.
That would be really fun. I think.
I'd like to hope that Mitchell comes back in and plays, and they don't have to go through all these steps, and then it might not be as bad as little whiplash, kind of stinger that you're saying, and that Mitchell bounces back. That would be the hope here, because I don't think that any of those other guys are worth it.
Well, I had Hasty on my bench, and I was like, yes, and then no, what is happening? Yeah. Hi, Izzy. What's going on? Izzy Ortez says hi.
Yes, Izzy's back.
How are you? Izzy's back. I honestly think that it's gonna. I think Shanahan is slightly overrated as a offensive mind, although I think he has a great offensive mind. But I always harken back to the Super Bowl that they spectacularly lost after being spectacularly ahead, and he was the offensive coordinator. But I can honestly see him just putting Jimmy G and Trey Lance both in there and just designing plays for both of them.
Yeah, that's really interesting. They may end up doing that.
And it sounds like the best scenario.
Yeah, I know. What else are you going to do? And you have Debo and you have Kettle, who.
That is true.
He has the weapons that it's not like the Saints right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the wide receiving core is iffy at best. He has good wide receivers, and he has a good tight end that acts as a wide receiver. So I don't think it's as dire as people say, although the carnage is ridiculous.
Courtney, they could almost use Debo kind of like how Drew Brees used Kamara, like in the last few years of his career. They kind of abandoned the run game and they just use short passes as kind of a substitute for the run. And Debo Samuel could end up having some more monster games if Jimmy G stays in there.
I like it. I think it's a smart idea.
He's talking about Jimmy G and not me.
I'm pretty sure he is. So Izzy totally disagrees with me. He wants Trey only in there, what are you going to do with Jimmy G then? That's another aspect that we didn't talk about, Doc. With all these quarterbacks going down, you have Marcus Mariota
on IR.
Sitting out there. You have
quad injury.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota went on IR.
Yeah, bad quad injury there. Yeah. Who knows when he's going to be back? It's going to be a while.
So you guys don't have who's the backup to Derek Carr?
I think it's Peterman.
Oh yeah, he's still there.
I think so.
And they couldn't put him in the game yesterday. What the? Come on.
Well, he was on the bench. You guys got to cover Ruggs when he's streaking down the field, catching 60-yard bombs.
No, those need to go to Waller.
Yeah.
Well, I agree.
Those need to go to Waller.
Unfortunately, David Carr was on fire, Izzy, and we really aren't talking about it right now. You missed the beginning of the show, We're not talking about the game yesterday between the Raiders and the Steelers anymore. But I mean, when you're starting to get in line, so Houston's going to Davis Mills, although they still have Deshaun Watson on their roster. He's inactive. They're not going to use him. I mean, it's not only that these quarterbacks are getting injured, it's that you have these messed up situations with backups too.
Yeah.
Like we're going to end the year with, who knows playing quarterback and on several teams, because Watson clearly isn't going to play for Texans this year, even though they're keeping him on the roster for I don't know why. And then Mariota, who was the Raiders' best backup, is now on IR. So Ben goes down, we're screwed even more. There's just no quality backups is what I think.
They are few and far between, and that's why Taysom Hill is such a valuable commodity. That's why he's getting paid whatever it is, $140 million, and he's kind of a gadget guy backup. But it's not.
He just hit it.
If Jameis Winston has another clunker like he did this week, he might be grabbing the bench with both hands.
Hey, but Izzy just hit on it. Do you think anybody calls Cam? Do you think anybody calls out Cam Newton in this next week? I agree with you, but do you think anybody's going to?
I don't know.
Yeah, but who would? I mean, where would his best fit be? Houston?
At the very least, they should call him for fashion advice. If they're not going to call him to be the quarterback, he can definitely help anybody out there. I may call him.
You should, with what you have on today. You should
Touche.
You should definitely call him. All right, running backs.
Yeah. All right, so the 49ers running backs, we've established that they're completely decimated, and we'll just have to see. And none of the options are appealing, which I kind of figured that's what you were going to say. So let's talk about Josh Jacobs, because he's kind of a holdover from last week. He kind of popped up with a turf toe, ankle, something. Nobody's really sure what's going on, but they're already saying he's, quote, very questionable for this week, which is not encouraging. Because he already missed week 2 and he's not looking good for week 3. And this could go from bad to worse. I'm definitely getting nervous here that he, may end up having a more extended absence. So, Peyton Barber and Kenyon Drake, could have significant value going forward. They need to be rostered in all leagues if they're not already. And let's see who else. So yeah, we have the two big guys. So Darrell Henderson, kind of similar situation to Amari Cooper and Tua Tagovailoa. He had a rib injury, still pending. Could be a bruise, which would probably be nothing, probably be fine for this week. Could be a break, which would cost him weeks, or it could be a cartilage tear, which he could be out even longer. So until we know more, we really need to be considering other options for him this week, and we really got to watch the practice reports, be vigilant for any new information coming out on that. And then the last but certainly not least, Mr. Dalvin Cook. He had a sprained ankle that he gutted out. Are we starting to see some cracks in the Dalvin Cook armor starting to show? Alexander Madison's already starting to see increased action. If he's not already owned in leagues, he has to be. He should be, but you never know. So make sure you go look and make sure that he's not just hanging out on the waiver wire. And you got to watch the practice reports and make sure you don't get hit with a sudden deactivation if you're a Dalvin Cook owner, early on Sunday because he tweaks something in warm-ups or something like that, even if he's trending in the right direction. Because this is what Dalvin Cook does. We love him. He's electric, but he's a delicate flower, and he can break. So you have to handle with care. And he's already starting to kind of show some of the reason why we have trepidation and why everybody that said if you draft Dalvin Cook, draft one of his backups, because this could happen at least 1, 2, 3 weeks out of the year. So there we go. Did I miss anyone?
Not that is relevant that I think.
That's a lot. Usually that's like one show's worth of injuries right there. We haven't even hit wide receiver. We haven't even hit the pass catchers yet.
No, we haven't, which is before we hit the pass catchers.
Yes.
Because I didn't see him on here. What's going on with OBJ? Who is a pass catcher?
It seems like he's just a holdover from his knee injury. They're kind of bringing him along slowly, but that's a beautiful train. That's why you're the host. The hostess with the mostest. You might have a future in this business, Gladys. That is an excellent transition to Jarvis Landry. So Jarvis Landry probably had one of the worst injuries of the week. At least he's definitely up there. So he sprained his MCL. They already said he's week to week. which unlike day to day, which doesn't tell us anything, week to week is almost never good. He's probably going to end up on short-term IR, which will cost him 3 weeks, maybe more. On the upside, I think they're going to kind of be pushed to activate Odell Beckham Jr. now. If they don't, then that leads me to believe that he's really got a problem because they kind of need him now that Jarvis Landry is going to be out. They were kind of making it without him and just like, yeah, we'll give him some more time and whatever. Very surprising because, people that drafted him, it was no indication that he was going to be limited at all. And he was looking great in preseason and things like that. And we haven't seen him in 2 weeks. But this may be the time now. They kind of forced their hand a little bit. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think that he's hurt worse than anyone thought, or that anyone besides the Cleveland Browns thought. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think that it's like that. You put the injured guy. What sport do you do that? You put the injured guy out there as a decoy.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much. I would be surprised if they activated him this week. But who are they? Let me see who they're playing.
They're playing the Bears. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
3, they are playing the Bears, and at home, they're a touchdown favorite. That's odd, I think. Anyway, so yes, I would be surprised if they activated OBJ, but I mean, they're a run-first team anyway. I mean, you have Chubb, you have Hunt. Donovan Peoples-Jones did nothing.
He did nothing. I know. I'm so sad by that. I actually drafted him in a lot of places, like thinking, "Ooh, sneaky," and I'm like, "Come on."
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Well, this could be his chance. Like, this could be his chance to step up. He's got a full week of practice. He knows he's going to be out there and he's going to be relied upon. So, sometimes these guys just need a little extra time to prepare.
Yeah.
Before we move on, what's going on with Michael Thomas?
Nothing new as far as I know. He's just, continuing to find new ways to piss off the Saints. And he's, still out with his ankle injury, surgical recovery. So, no, he hasn't made any news or anything like that, although the week is young. But he's still looking at at least a few more weeks of being out.
Okay.
And we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. Right. So Landry, you think is going to be out for a few weeks?
Yeah, I'd say at least 2 to 3, maybe even depending on how bad this is and how quickly he recovers. Although they did say it wasn't as bad as they originally thought, which I guess is good news. So maybe it's more along the lines of a 2 to 3 week, 4 week time frame as opposed to like a 4 to 6 week time frame with a partial tear.
Would you IR him or would you drop him?
I think they're going to IR him. So if they don't, that's a really good sign. If they say we're not going to put him on IR, then that means they think he's going to be back in less than 3 weeks. Okay. So that's would be encouraging. And the fact that they haven't done it already is actually encouraging for me. But I do think he's going to be out at least a couple of weeks.
Okay. All right. Sorry. And continue.
Do you want to talk about your boy, Deontay, on the last play of the game, one of the last plays of the game, which I was very surprised that, it's like we had a lot of these guys get hurt in like the fourth quarter or like the last play. It's like the game's over. And then it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean the guy's down on the field? It's like the game's over. But yeah, so Deontay Johnson for the Steelers hurt his knee on one of the last plays of the game. They already said that it's not a serious injury, which doesn't tell us much, but it means it's probably not an ACL. It's probably not a meniscus. Could we be looking at a grade 1 strain of one of the ligaments? It's possible. It could be a bone bruise like Andy Dalton has. This is something we're going to have to watch practice reports on. It could be something that keeps him out a week or two. Now, Gladys, my question to you, is it James Washington season? Like, does he hold any interest for you whatsoever? Young guy, has been kind of marginalized in that offense, but this could be his opportunity or not. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that it's Najee Harris's season. Short passes. Ben's not throwing long.
Okay.
Don't think Ben can throw long. If anyone, it's Juju. Like Juju and Harris are the two I would think.
Okay.
If Deontay doesn't come back, I'm not picking up. I do too, Izzy. I'm not picking up Washington. I have Deontay on a couple of teams, on a couple of leagues, and I wouldn't drop him and pick up Washington.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was just saying, do you think Washington is worth a pickup if you had,
if you have room on your bench?
Like, okay, at JaMychal Hasty, and you're like, okay, well, he's going to be gone for a month or more. Do I pick up James Washington, or do I look in another direction?
I'm looking in another direction. I honestly don't have any confidence in Roethlisberger's arm.
Wow.
That
feels like such a Gladys Steelers take. She is quite the Steelers pessimist. Courtney, what do you think? Any hope there whatsoever?
Well, I was going to ask the question, Gladys, what do you think about, I'm going to butcher his name, but what about the rookie tight end, Pat? I'm not even going to try his last name.
Plymouth?
Yeah, do you think that could be an option? Because he's, short passes, and the kid is stacked. He's a beast. Do you think in deeper leagues that could be an option? Because I don't know. I think that he could maybe become something more and more quickly and take over Ebron.
I think.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think he is supposed to take over Ebron. I think he is more of a end zone, red zone threat. Like, that's how they used him mostly in preseason. My only concern is the reason that I think he fell in the draft is he has a shoulder. He came into the league with he was out at Penn State, and he had a really serious shoulder injury. So with people falling like they are, I don't know if Tomlin's going to use him as much, but yeah, I would pick him up. I have him in several leagues and just holding on to him because I think that pretty soon they're going to have to start using him because he is that short pass guy. Najee Harris is getting some passes, but they're not utilizing him as much as I thought they would. And if we ever get near the end zone, where Ben can dink it off to him, if we can get that far down the field, then yeah, I think he would be viable. But we have to get there first.
Right, totally.
I like it. When it comes to tight end, sometimes it's like, anybody that can go out there and potentially get you a couple catches and maybe a touchdown, like they got a chance to be top 10 for the week. So he's definitely interesting, especially even some top guys are underperforming. Like Mark Andrews hasn't exactly set the world on fire. He's been okay. But he hasn't been like stellar. And then we'll see what Hawkinson does tonight against the Packers. But yeah, it's definitely a good point. Okay, so we have more.
We have more.
Yeah, so Amari Cooper hurt his ribs in the fourth quarter. It's kind of the same deal as Tua and Henderson, although Coach McCarthy said something interesting. He said the rib injury was more of a bruise than a break, which, it's like your ribs are either broken or they're not. That's like saying it's more not pregnant than pregnant. It's like, well, which one is it? So that didn't really help us with much, but he's probably okay. So the thing is, it could be something where they do more testing and they find out that he actually has a tear of the cartilage, which is really bad. It's actually worse than a break of the ribs. And time frame for that can be weeks, really painful, really slow to heal. So we're hoping it's not that. In the event that it isn't, he's probably going to be all right. If it is, then that kind of changes the game. If he's out, does Cedric the unentertaining Wilson become relevant finally, or still no? Are they just going to just throw everything to CeeDee Lamb, like literally just everything?
Or Tony Pollard. Yeah, exactly. Or Tony Pollard, because why not?
Why not?
Let him do everything. Jeez.
Blake Jarwin. What about the two tight ends?
Jarwin and
Schultz. They go two tight ends.
Man, that Cedric Wilson bird, I'm trying to get that thing to fly, and that thing is made out of lead. It just not happen. But we'll see. I don't know. Like he didn't really do much this week. If Cooper is out, then he's got another chance. I have no idea. But you have to watch practice reports on that. It's definitely a little scary. The fact that it's not broken is good, but we're not out of the woods yet. Could still be a cartilage injury, which you need an MRI to figure that out. And as far as I know, they haven't completed that yet. So more to come on that. And now we have two guys with shoulder injuries, one of them worse than the other. So we'll start with the one that is worse. So Nico Collins had a pretty significant, what they said, and this is in quotations, pretty significant injury to his shoulder. I don't want to get you guys a lot of medical jargon, but pretty significant injury. So what could that be? It could be a dislocation. It could be a cartilage or a labrum injury. It could be a bone bruise. It could be a rotator cuff injury. There's a lot of things in there that could be injured. They already said he's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks, which is not great. So he's going to be on the IR. They're going to open up a roster spot for him. Who knows? This could be something that persists, and by that time they lose 5 in a row, and they're just like, hey, you know what? Like, we just leave him on IR and forget about it. So there's a non-zero chance that this could be it. I don't think so, but it's possible. But he's going to be out for what sounds like the better part of a month. So, with Davis Mills in there, a quarterback for the time being, and him being out, you could probably move off of him at this point, especially if he was like, one of your last round lottery tickets, like just go buy another one, like find somebody else to take a shot on and play that out. And then Laviska Shenault. So he had an MRI, came back pretty clean. He's not totally out of the woods yet, but Urban Meyer thinks that he should play. So I'm going to play a conservative and watch the practice reports before I write it down in ink. But for now, I'm thinking that he's going to get in there. So that's the wide receiver room. Any questions on that? Any impact? Anything that hits you with that? Just horrificness.
Horrificness. I have a question about going back to which I should have asked earlier. Running backs. Deandre Swift tonight. Is Deandre Swift okay? Or is Dan Campbell just playing? Is Dan Campbell trying to play old Bill Belichick moves where he's injured? Like last week, he was supposed to be day-to-day injured, and he just killed it.
Yeah, he had a big snap share, and he looked pretty good. I think it's just more of the same. I think this is going to be something where we're just going to see this kind of every week going forward. He's going to be questionable every week, and at the very least, he's going to catch a bunch of passes as long as he's out there. I mean, Jared Goff is the perfect quarterback for DeAndre Swift. It's he has eyes for him, and he's James White 2.0 for Tom Brady, where it's just the offense just funnels through Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift, and then they have Jamal Williams out there to kind of run the ball and catch the ball a little bit too. So I think he's going to catch a lot of passes. I don't know how much he's going to run, and we got some prop bets coming on up later, which I'm excited about. But I think that's kind of the story. I think he's going to be okay. There is the chance of re-injury. So there's the potential for that, but I'm not super worried about it. I think, what we can expect, what he got last week is, kind of the floor. And then there's a chance that he takes an even bigger role in the offense this week. So that's kind of where we're at. So it's kind of exciting to see how it plays out.
Okay. What you got, Courtney?
Yeah, I know you got to run in a little bit.
I want to get to those prop bets too. God, I wish I could stay. This is not fun. Responsibilities, they suck. Yeah,
the team sucks.
Oh no, I actually really like DeAndre Swift this week, and I think I pulled up that it was 68% of snaps to Williams 35 snaps, and I think that he's gonna. I mean, what else do they have? They have Trinity Benson. They have Amon St. Brown. I mean, they don't have many options. So I think it's gonna. I think he's gonna have a really good game, and I'm excited to watch it tonight. I think it's gonna. I don't know. It's gonna be a good game. So I think DeAndre Swift, if you have him, play him with confidence. All the way.
Get him in there.
Well, and his prop bet was 45.5 yards, rush yards.
What did you have? 45.5. Yeah. I think that's gone up here in Nevada, but I think it's gone up a little bit, but because people are betting it, but yeah, so I definitely would take that over for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, last week when you said you were going to the casinos, that's why I thought you were here. I thought you were going up to Blackhawk.
No. So I'm close to State Line, Nevada, which is right on it's the state line of California and Nevada. And so you got all the casinos there and everything. So yeah. And we've got a couple local ones that are literally walking distance from our house. So
dangerous.
It's very dangerous, but but it's fun too.
That's good. That's good. How did you do?
Okay, well, you mean
Next
last
question.
week? No, I broke even last week, and this week I'm not looking too hot. I got a couple bad ones that I got a couple bad ones. The Cardinals killed me. They didn't do good for me, and gracious alive, your Raiders killed me. And but you're right, I should never bet on Ben. But it was a teaser. It was a teaser, and I just didn't think. I don't know. I just thought the Raiders coming off a short week and an emotional win that it wasn't gonna pan out. But
that was a good process, though. That's very Raider. I mean, they should have lost Monday night. They should have lost yesterday. It's a new era. I don't know what I'm seeing. It's like I was like, the Raiders and Denver are tied for first in the AFC West. Everybody saw this coming, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is insane. Yeah. Are we in bizarro world? Like, what's happening?
Yes.
So Izzy has the Packers defense in a money league tonight, and he's worried. You have the Packers defense against the Detroit Lions. Why are you worried, Izzy? Why?
There's bigger things to worry about in the world than that, Izzy.
Yeah, Packers defense against the Lions, against Jared Goff on a Monday night.
I see a lot of sacks. I see some turnovers.
After they got
you might get burned a little bit with yardage, but
come on, they got embarrassed last week.
I see Aaron Rodgers throwing for like 500 yards and like.
Yeah, well, that is true. That could be a revenge game, that's for sure.
Yeah,
and if he doesn't, it is going to be a bad day. And I'm telling you, I don't know if he does it, I don't know if he's bouncing back from this. I don't know at all. I mean, y'all saw how awful he looked after the game last week. He looked like he had. First of all, he didn't look bad. He looked like he was just like, whatever, we lost, whatevs. But if he does it this week, I don't know. I don't know if the NFL is going to let him stay. I mean, that's just, jeez.
Did you hear what Michael Irvin said? Michael Irvin said that, and I'm paraphrasing badly, but something to the extent of once a player thinks of retiring, he's retired, like he's out, because that thought process is already there. And he was like,
interesting.
Aaron Rodgers, when he, like maybe I'll play, maybe I won't. He was like, he wasn't there. He was not playing.
That's an interesting take from the playmaker.
Hey, Doc, aren't they missing? Aren't the Packers missing somebody on their offensive line or two on their offensive line?
Oh yeah, I think Bakhtiari is hurt. I think is that how you say his name? The guy who always pounds beers to the Milwaukee Bucks games.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had one other guy. I don't know if he's coming back or not. So, yeah, I don't know. Like that could have something to do with it. But again, the Lions defense is hot trash. So, I mean,
true.
I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make.
Well, I know, but my only other thought is just what Gladys was saying about the already thinking you're retired is he doesn't want to get hit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He's like, I got money and I can go where I want to go next year, or I can leave and go to Hawaii. He's like, I'm not getting hit. So
yeah. No, it's a good point. It's a good point. As a matter of fact, if you're around Aaron Rodgers, the other people tend to get hit. You guys remember that story with Miles Teller where they were all having dinner and somebody came and just walked up to Miles Teller and punched him in the face? Miles Teller, Aaron Rodgers, and their respective significant others were having dinner, and Miles Teller went to the bathroom and somebody just walked up and punched him in the face.
It's Miles Teller, so
all over the tabloids. So
that's awesome.
More than just injury analysis on the Monday night show. We do the TMZ section too.
Yeah, everything.
But yeah,
Courtney, what's your passing words? Because I don't want Courtney has to.
We don't want to keep you.
What's your son's name?
My son's name is Cashel.
Cashel?
Cashel, yes.
Cashel, all right.
Yeah, it's Cash EL.
Nice.
I like
Cashel is going to go kill it in his soccer game, and Courtney is going to be working that. So she has to leave us a few minutes early to go ref Cashel's soccer game.
Yay!
I'm going to go over under. Cashel's going to get 3 goals. I'm going over.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I like that.
I want to Cashel some over bets on his goal scored today.
Well, I will leave y'all with thank you so much for letting me join, and I hope I can do it again. And I truly think that the Lions will cover. I'm going with Dan's pick too, because I think the Lions are going to cover. I do not think that it will be a spread of what is it? I think 11.5 right now. I think it's going to be closer than we think it is. I think it'll be like 38-30 or something around those lines.
Okay.
Maybe 34-27, something like that. But I do think that Lions will cover, and I think it'll go over. I think we're at 48 right now. Are we at 48 or has it moved any? Yeah.
No,
Yeah. So I don't know if that line has moved here in the great state of Nevada, but yes, I do think the Lions will cover because I don't think that they're going to go over 12 points on on Packers side. I don't know. Blow me away, Aaron. Let's see. You're on my fantasy team, but blow me away. But I don't know.
Aaron.
I don't know. But that's my take, guys. And thank you so much.
Love
and have a great night.
Thank you for being here. Go Cashel.
Good luck there, Cashel. There she is. Courtney at Love Tractor. What is it? Love Tractor 3, right?
Love Tractor 3 at Love Tractor 3.
At Love Tractor 3, LUV Tractor 3 on Twitter. So glad that she can join us. Well, Gladys, alone at last.
All right, so let's do prop bets because
we got a few. We're not done with injuries yet.
Oh, we're not?
No.
Oh, shit.
We have a couple more.
Okay.
So quickly, Laviska Shenault, MRI, came back pretty clean.
Okay.
Urban Meyer thinks he should play this week. I'm optimistic, but we got to watch practice reports. James O'Shaughnessy, just mentioned him. He hurt his ankle. And Kyle, how are you? So I guess my point is that if you're really relying on James O'Shaughnessy to kind of hold your team together, you got bigger problems. But it looks like he's probably going to miss a couple of weeks. And then a late addition, Zach Ertz tested positive for COVID. So he's in the COVID protocol. So the interesting thing is here, and here's a reminder. So he tested positive, but he is vaccinated per report. So a fully vaccinated player can return to play in 5 days if he does not have symptoms, followed by 2 negative tests separated by 24 hours.
Okay, here's my question though. What about people who were Zach Ertz adjacent? Like the tight end?
They're all high risk contacts. So if they're not vaccinated, then they are high risk contacts and they can be out for up to 10 days. So I'm gonna go through the whole thing. So this is like the COVID thing, the protocol, like it keeps coming up. So fully vaccinated player, they can return to play if they test positive in 5 days if they don't have symptoms, followed by 2 negative tests separated by 24 hours. An unvaccinated player that tests positive has at least a 10-day quarantine.
Okay.
So that's that. Fully vaccinated players are not designated as high-risk contacts. So anybody that was in Zach Ertz's solar system, if they're vaccinated, they're good, as long as they don't test positive. And they're getting tested I think vaccinated players get tested every week, and unvaccinated players get tested every day. So as long as nobody comes back with a positive test and they're fully vaccinated, they're not a high-risk contact. If they're unvaccinated, they're a high-risk contact, and they go into quarantine. So only players that are unvaccinated are at risk of missing games without a positive test. So we'll have to see what the fallout is from this, if he was around anybody, if anybody else was potentially exposed. But at least as far as he is concerned, he's not ruled out of playing this week yet, as long as he continues to not have symptoms and continues to have, or ends up having 2 negative tests within 24 hours before their next game.
Okay.
So I know that's a lot to kind of to go through, but I guess the point is that it's not anything to necessarily be worried about with Zach Ertz yet. Obviously, if it looks like he's going to miss this week, then Dallas Goedert gets a huge bump and he becomes a lot more interesting. So that is, I think, the entire injury slate, which we got through that in 50 minutes, which I'm kind of impressed with, because that's like, it felt like it's like a quarter of the league got injured.
You were quite impressive with that. Thank you very much, very, very much, because it was carnage. Like, I literally stopped watching football. I'm like, am I a jinx? I can't watch anyone else fall down in the fourth quarter and hurt themselves. So
my heart can't take it anymore.
The Steelers lost, but I mean that had something to do with me not watching it anymore. Which reminds me, on the 26th, the NFL Red Zone is having a free preview. So if you don't have NFL Red Zone, this Sunday you can watch it for free. I can't watch it because there's too much going on. It drives me crazy. But for all of you who want to watch every touchdown or not even touchdown, every point scored from every game, NFL Red Zone free. The 26th September. Okay. From the Jets, what's good with my man? From the Jets, what's good with my? I don't understand. Crowder. Oh, Jamison Crowder. Is he still injured?
I don't know. What's good? Is there something good with him? Is he? I don't know. What did you tell me? What's good with him? I don't know.
I know that he was hurt or.
I think he was. Was he COVID too? He came off the COVID list.
I think he was COVID. I think he was COVID. Yeah.
I think he's back. but it's hard to tell because honestly, they got rolled up by who did they play this week?
Carolina, didn't they? Panthers?
Whoever it was, they eradicated them. So I mean, it's hard to take anything away from that game. Like it was really bad.
Oh, the Jets need Jesus. The Jets need Jesus.
It was really bad. I mean, I thought they were going to do better than that. That was ugly.
Oh, the Patriots. They played the Patriots this week.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go.
That was ugly.
Yeah, Bill Belichick and
Bill Belichick versus a rookie quarterback? No, thank you.
No, thank you. Sorry, Izzy. I'm sorry about your Jets. They do need Jesus. You're true. All right. So quickly, because so everyone can get their prop bets in. If you are on the Thrive app and you want to be on the Thrive app to get your prop bets in, if you put the promo code Armchair in, they will match up to $50. So these are prop bets for any app that you're on though, but Armchair up to $50. Which prop bet do you want to do first?
You know what? You tell me. I'll go with whatever you want to do.
Okay. I kind of want to talk about Aaron Rodgers combined touchdowns, interceptions at 3.5.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you got a strong feeling about that one? I saw that one. That was interesting.
I know. I want to go over.
Yeah, I kind of do.
Touchdown, they're like 8. That's only like what, 18 points? So he only has to have 4 touchdowns and an interception. I don't see an interception. Oh, maybe. How interested do you think he is in this game? It's prime time. It's the only reason I think that he will show great interest and throw like for 500 yards because everyone's talking about how bad he is, and we know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's very interested in this game and kind of coming out and showing that he's still got it because, I mean, anybody can have a bad game. It just so happened that all the drama going into, from the offseason and going into week 1, and if he would have had a monster season and he had a bad week in week 12, nobody would have batted an eye. But because it happened to be week 1 coming off of this horrific offseason, everybody's, people are now questioning whether or not he's washed up, and they're clamoring for Jordan Love, which I don't think is going to, he hasn't responded. It's kind of triggered him in the past. So I don't think he's feeling too good about that. I think that, he may be out to prove a point tonight, and the Lions would be a good defense to prove a point against if he's going to do that. Yeah. So that's, I kind of, it's a big number, but I kind of agree with you. And if you look at it this way, it's like if he ends up throwing, let's just say he throws a bad pick or something like that, or he throws it up at the end of the half on a Hail Mary that gets picked off, I could see him throwing for 3 touchdowns and throwing an interception and it goes over for sure.
Yeah, I like the over. And also Devontae Adams, 82.5 yards, receiving yards. So if Aaron's throwing, we know he's throwing to Devontae.
Yeah.
And if he's, if you're going over with that, if you're going over with 3.5, you've got to go over 82.5 for Devontae. I mean, right? Does that?
I mean, I would think so. I honestly didn't have a strong feeling about the combined touchdowns and interceptions, Jared Goff, Devontae Adams, or Hawkinson. The one that I thought was kind of interesting was MVS over 2.5 receptions. And I was just like, that just feels really low. And why is it so low? I mean, I get it. Like MVS it's not a sexy pick, but I don't know. It just seemed like it was a decent value. I mean, if you figure there's one guy that the Lions are at least going to try to take away, it's going to be Devontae Adams. So somebody else is going to be open. Is it Randall Cobb? Is it Alan Lazard? Is it MVS? Is it Tanyan? Is it Aaron Jones? I mean, is it all the above? I don't know, but it just seemed like if he's going to throw for a lot of yards, it's not all going to go to Devontae Adams. So I don't know.
So you would go over on that, on the MVS?
Yeah.
Rodgers,
I can see him getting 3 catches for 35 yards, and you win the bet,
Izzy saying Rodgers 310 yards, 3 touchdowns. I like that. I think that's. Yeah. I still need one more interception, or he won't go to 3.5. Is he?
Yeah, that's why it's tough. Right, 4 touchdowns. That's a monster game, which absolutely could happen, but I don't know if I want to bet on that.
How many did Brady have yesterday? 5?
I think he did. Yeah, the ageless wonder.
Whatever. Jared Goff over under 257.5 passing yards, or where I did Aaron Rodgers. So Jared Goff 257. Last week he got if they're going to be behind, he's going to be passing.
Yeah.
The problem is T. Jackson isn't really that good with yards after catch. So who's gonna be making up those yards for him?
Your boy DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams and I don't know, maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay, Amon-Ra St. Brown is my boy. I have him on like every team. I'm not playing him, but I have him on. He's really good in the slot. Like I was in college anyway. But
no, he's good. He's a good player. He's he just got to develop a little bit. But Goff is a good quarterback to have him in there. And I think the thing with Goff is like anytime he's got a stat line like with yards and things like that, like he's like the perfect quarterback to garbage time his way to an over. Like it's just he's going to be out there. They're going to be behind. He's going to be throwing. He's going to be throwing these dinks and dunks to Hawkinson, to the running backs. The short routes to the slot receivers. Tyrell Williams is out, so I could easily see him not being very efficient, but ending up going over. If I had to pick one out of those two, I would go Jared Goff over. None of them really excite me, but I would pick Jared Goff in the over.
Over that and the Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I would take Jared Goff's yards over Aaron Rodgers' 3.5 TDs and interceptions if I had to pick one.
And I think Dan's notes said that 48% of the poll picked Jared Goff over the 257 yards.
Does that mean 52% picked the other one?
Yeah, or didn't pick anything.
Or didn't pick anything. Okay.
I decided not to pick it all.
They abstained.
Doc stops Goff. Izzy said that Goff is trash. That's what he said. He said garbage yards.
Izzy is going to the Hamid Sandhu school of Jared Goff sucks. But all I have to say is you have to look no further than week 1, my friend. And Jared Goff he's here to prove a point. And the point is that he doesn't suck.
On the Thrive app itself, they have 25.5 over under Jared Goff's completions.
Oh jeez. I don't have a strong feeling on that one.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't completion. If they said passing, if they said attempts, I would go over. But completions, no. 45.5 DeAndre Swift's rushing yards.
Yeah, see that one I don't know. I feel like I might go under on that.
Under?
I think he's going to get a lot of catches. I don't think they're going to hand him the ball with the groin injury. That's kind of my take on it. That's why I was like, it feels low, but he didn't have a lot of rushing yards last week. He had a lot of receiving yards and a lot of catches, but not a lot of rushing yards.
And then 0.5 total rushing touchdowns. So if you're not going over on his yards, you're going to go that he'll get at least one rushing touchdown?
I don't know. I think he's much more likely to get a receiving touchdown because here's the thing. There's 2 reasons for them not to hand him the ball if the game goes the way we think. If they're behind, they're not going to be running, period. They're going to be running. They're going to be passing and doing short yardage things. And, he still has that groin injury. So I think they want him to operate in space. They don't necessarily want to run him into the line and, risk him, some guy falling, a 300-pound guy falling on him and injuring him further. Not that he's a small guy, but he has an injury. So I think they're going to try to protect him a little bit. I could be wrong, but I didn't have a strong feeling on that one. I was like, yeah, it feels low, but I want to stay away from that one. What do you think? Would you go over on that?
Having one rushing touchdown?
Well, either one, the 45.5 rush yards or the 0.5 touchdowns.
Here's the thing, and I think you said this last week, and I may or may not have agreed with you verbally, but I don't like going under because once they hit that, you're out. So I wouldn't on either one of those on Swift because I honestly don't know how bad he's hurt and how long he's going to play. So I wouldn't. The rushing touchdown I'm kind of interested in because I think if they're at the goal line, they might give him the ball. They might hand the ball off to him so he could go in.
It's possible.
But the 45.5 yards I wouldn't go over, and I'm not betting under. But
we gave Izzy. I want to call. I know Izzy's watching. I gave you a mention last week because you were like Mr. Under last year, and you were like hitting everything. So I called it out. I was like, we were talking about we don't like the unders because it doesn't feel comfortable, and I was like, Izzy Ortiz was playing unders all day, every day last year, and he was crushing everything. I was like, we should learn something from this man.
I can't learn anything from him. Jerry wants to know, does he have a chance? 27 points out of Adams, 27 fantasy points out of Adams. If it's in a PPR, I think it's very possible.
So
if it's
you're
standard,
telling me there's a chance. Oh, yeah. No, you got a great chance. Like, he could blow up for one of his Devontae Adams games where they just go,
it's the Lions.
Bananas.
It's the Lions. TJ Hawkinson. Let's do TJ real quick.
Okay.
55.5 total receiving yards.
Okay.
Who's he going to throw it to? Tyrell's out.
You know what? Let's go over on that. Why not?
Jeremy, it's PPR. I think you have a really good chance.
You got a good shot, my man.
Yeah.
Keep the faith.
You got this. TJ Hawkinson, 0.5 total receiving touchdowns. See, I don't like him for touchdowns. I like him for the yards.
Okay.
I would be more of the yards than the touchdowns.
Okay. I'm gonna go over on both. I say he goes over 55.5 and he gets a touchdown. Yeah.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers, 285.5 total passing yards. I'm going over it because I think he's just going to air the ball out. Izzy's going over on everything on TJ.
Oh, yeah.
You don't think he's going to air it out?
No, I do.
It's a lot of yards.
When we gotta do these rapid fire bets, it's like I pick like two of them out that I actually like. Remember last week I was just like, yeah, I like these two. The rest of them you can set them on fire. Like that's kind of how I feel with most of these. But yes, I agree with you. I would say that most likely he's gonna go over. The only caveat to that is if the Lions are just complete garbage and they're down like 35-0. Because they have like 3 turnovers, returned for a touchdown or something like that at halftime, then, Aaron Rodgers could end up grabbing the bench and drinking Gatorade for the rest of the game. And then
really, I think he'd stay in and still throw. I honestly do. I really, really do. I think he will stay in and still throw the ball.
And then if he gets hurt, then they would I don't know what they would do to LaFleur. Well, maybe nothing. Maybe they're kind of tired of him anyway.
They would be like, send him love.
I think our co-host Kyle Senra would put a hit out on him if that happened.
I keep forgetting that Kyle's huge Packers fan. Yeah.
Okay, well let me tell you the one that I actually really thought was interesting.
Okay.
It's kind of along the same vein as the Kenyon Drake one from last week that we talked about that hit, right. Even though it was a little trepidatious there for a little while. It was the combined yards. So Jamal Williams combined rushing receiving yards at 70.5. And the reason I like that is because you got, again, multiple ways to get it, and game script probably isn't going to be an issue. He's going to run a little bit, he's going to catch a little bit, and he could get there. And if DeAndre Swift gets hurt or something happens where they go down a bunch and they're just like, take a seat, bud, we don't want you to get hurt any worse. Let Jamal Williams stay out there and rack up some garbage time yards. So a lot of different pathways for that to come through. So I do kind of like that one.
I don't know if I'm going to go over on anything. Okay, so you would go over on that one?
I would, yeah. I would go over on the Jamal Williams combined one. That one I kind of like.
You like the combined?
I do like those combined ones.
Okay. I'm not that reckless. I don't like Detroit in this game. I don't.
We don't have to agree. It's better when we don't agree because then at least whoever listens to one of us has a chance of being right.
So
Kyle is saying a whole bunch of stuff here.
Yeah, he is.
Let's see. Hi, Kyle. I would be mad if Rodgers got hurt during meaningless snaps, but not for his sake. I think Jordan Love something. I don't know. Jordan Love
NFL game reps as possible.
Needs to be okay. Well, that's definitely a take.
So, my dog is woken up from his drug-infested sleep. Clearly, I didn't drug him hard enough. Oh, no, maybe I did. It's 6:05. All right, so you guys have 10 minutes to put in your prop bets.
All right, so what's your favorite one? What's the one that you really like?
Devontae Adams over.
Adams over how many yards?
85.5, wasn't it?
82.5.
82. Oh, 82.5 went down? Yes. Then I think Devontae Adams is going to get at least 100 yards.
Okay. That's actually not a bad one. I do like that one. If I had to pick one, I would take the Jamal Williams combined one. That's my best one. Just because you got multiple ways to win it, and who knows how this game is going to go. I mean, it is not inconceivable that Detroit wins. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's possible.
Yeah. Thanks, Kyle. I don't know if that's good or not, but Kyle agrees with me, and I can take that since, very seldom people do.
Kyle's a smart guy. Kyle agrees with you. That's usually a good thing.
He is really smart. He's like, and I don't mean this, he's like surprisingly smart. You know what I mean? Like, he comes up with like these stats out of the, like, where did you, like, and they're true, but he just like pulls them out, like random. You can say random things, and Kyle knows the stats for him.
Kyle, I don't know what that means, surprisingly. So I just said I thought you were smart. Kyle, Gladys said you're surprisingly smart. I added no adjectives to that. I just was like, no, Kyle's a smart guy. Yeah, I'm surprised how smart he is. Well, I guess the question, why are you surprised? But
because not everyone can do that. Like, I couldn't even pull up like Steelers stats. If you said, Deontay Johnson, blah, blah, last year, I would be like, okay. But Kyle would be like, no, it was like 86.2 yards, and it was like on 3 catches. You know what I mean?
I definitely know what you mean. When I was on the Dynasty Gambit with him and Hamid, they used to bust out these stats that I literally never heard of. And I was like, I went to school for a few years, and I was like, I feel like I need like an engineering degree to understand what they're talking about. And I was like, he's like, yeah, he's third in the league in AD or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I think that's good. I don't know.
Which brings me to the point as we close. If you guys need like crazy stats, or if you need help, go ask Kyle, because he'll know it.
At Senra Says on Twitter.
At Senra Says.
He is
and he will be back next week to be our intrepid host. Dude, there are words this week. Adjusted line yards. Right. Yeah. See? Yeah. That is what I'm talking about.
Adjusted line yards.
Like a music teacher, I think. I think he teaches like music in school. It's
Mr. Senra's opus.
Kyle. Kyle, as he says, call him. Isn't he missed you last week? And then hopefully our producer Dan will be back next week. We've missed him 2 weeks in a row now. He's had obligations, adulting.
Yeah.
So he had to do adulting things, but we miss you too, Dan. I know, right? Adulting sucks.
Adulting definitely sucks.
It does. Which is why I drug my dogs. So I don't have adulting things. But now he's like awake and he won't move. So maybe he's still drugged and he doesn't realize it. Anyway, I'm going to take my dogs out before the game starts.
All right.
Doc.
Yes.
I'm so happy you were here this week. I'm happy you're here every week, but this week, extremely happy that you're here. Yeah, you guys, if you need any information on your team and their injury and your players' injuries, this is the man you want to talk to.
And let's not forget.
Yes. I have mine too.
So I'm sure everybody will agree that injuries are a really important part of fantasy sports, especially fantasy football, no matter what format you play. So in my book, Injuries Suck, but your fantasy team doesn't have to. There it is. I talk about specific injury terminology, injury timetables, how to read between the lines of player and coach speak, the stuff that we talk about every week on this show, major media reports, how to approach injuries in season, how to anticipate, be proactive, and how to act with confidence when injuries strike. And there's also some historical and statistical trends in there, some game theory and lots of other fun stuff crammed into about 100 pages. It's available on Amazon. There's the paperback version if you're old school like me and you like books. If you want the e-version, that's available too. You can read it on your phone. You can take it into the bathroom with you. I don't judge. We've got a 4.9 aggregate review score on Amazon. There's a link on my Twitter page at TFSDoc. If you Google it, it'll come right up. Go check it out. You won't regret it. I guarantee it. Gladys, thank you so much. This was fun. I'm looking forward to Marquez Valdez-Scantling going over the 2.5, making me some money on Thrive with Armchair, the promo code Armchair for deposit match of $50.
Exactly.
Go to Thrive. You got a few minutes.
You got 5 minutes, guys. Do it. Izzy ordered your book today. Way to go, Izzy.
Nice. Thank you, Izzy.
And we want to thank everyone who watched, listened, and even those who didn't feel comfortable chime in anytime you want. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you listening, and we will see you next Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel, hopefully with our host Kyle back. I'm sure he will be, and with our producer Dan. and with the doc, who will tell you about all the injuries that are going to happen again.
Hopefully less injuries next week than this week. Enjoy the game, and everybody keep their fingers crossed.
And we will see you. Thank you guys so much. And that's my dog trying to eat my computer. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.